It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of December 1st, 1995. Only three movies to look at today. Not really memorable movies. We are on the week after Thanksgiving, and usually this is where the leftovers come into play. The movies that nobody really looks at and says, we've got a hit here. They basically just dump these out because this is usually after the weekend after Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's usually the movies that are not considered going to be big hits, and this one is definitely no exception to that rule. It is John Travolta and Harry Belafonte starring in the drama White Man's Burden.
There's something inherently wrong when the people repeatedly burn out of their community.
They've made a great deal of progress. I mean, look at their successes. What about their artists, their music?
I love their music too, okay? I just say, let them sing, let them dance. Let them not be so damn violent.
White people are genetically inferior.
Imagine a world where everything is different.
Why would you like the white one?
I don't want that one.
There must have been 50 little white kids all running around. They were so adorable.
But nothing has changed.
Next time you have something delivered here to the house, could you send someone other than the fellow you sent by today?
You follow me?
I don't think things are gonna work out.
I promise you, honey, it's gonna be better.
I just lost my job at the factory, and I need to talk to him.
I don't get involved in these matters.
From the producer of Pulp Fiction.
I got your money. I told you I got your money. You've been bugging my wife all week. We ain't living here, sir. I can't even make it.
1995's most provocative film.
What's going on?
Put your hands up!
What did I do?
Leave him alone!
Go ahead.
John Travolta.
I come to your house. You ain't got no time for me. Now I got a gun. You got all the time in the world.
Harry Belafonte.
Lots of people lose their jobs. Tough luck. Get another one. Got a wife, kids. Got a lot to lose.
Dad! It's crazy, man!
I don't think I can let you go, Dad.
Show no respect. Leave him alone. Try and get out.
You blame everybody else in the whole world but yourself.
Somebody, help me!
White Man's Burden.
From the concept alone, this has a really good idea to it. It's set in an alternate America where the social and economic positions of black people and white people are reversed. And that's something that could be really, really interesting. Like, it could be something, you could see somebody like Spike Lee probably doing a movie like this, or even someone more recently, Boots Riley. This has kind of a feel of something that would come from the same person that made Sorry to Bother You, which is a great movie. And it starts off pretty strongly, too. It starts off like you think it's going to be. You think it's going to be like a satirical commentary on what would happen if the roles are reversed. And it does start off that way in the beginning, but it really, really does not work in the end. This is one of those movies that has such a great concept to it and such good people enough there to make it work, but it just kind of takes the safe route all the way to the rest of it, because it doesn't really do anything interesting with that plot that they have here. I mean, you've got two really good, capable actors, John Travolta and Harry Belafonte, and you also have a cast that includes Kelly Lynch, Margaret Avery, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Carrie Snodgrass, Andy Lawrence is in here as well, and you think you'd have something there, but it just doesn't come together, I think, as well as they wanted to, and I think I can tell you why that is. I think it's because they took the route of, let's turn this into a little bit of an action movie. We're going to make it so that John Travolta has to kidnap the Harry Belafonte character, and then we're just going to kind of do... we want to try to recreate Pulp Fiction success again, and why not? Because this is the same man that did Pulp Fiction, the producer, Lawrence Bender. But, just from the way it was starting, it doesn't end the way like the premise promised it would, or the beginning of the film would. It just goes kind of the safe route. It feels like it doesn't want to take that big risk that they should have taken. Like if you had a better director and a better writer here, they would have gone all the way with this premise 100%. Like I said, get a Spike Lee, get a Boots Riley, hell, get a Jordan Peele to do something like this, but not like this. I mean, there is enough here where I'm not going to blame it on John Travolta and Harry Belafonte. I think the cast themselves are doing the best job with the material given to them, but the material there just isn't that great. I mean, the performances, I think, really do carry this to being somewhat of a watchable movie, but it's a movie that's like maybe a one-time watch, but other than that, though, there's no reason to really watch it afterwards. But I was really disappointed by this movie. I thought it was going to be so much more just from that premise, just from the way it started, and just by the fact of the people that they have on board in the cast. But other than that, though, it's just a mess of a film. It's not that engaging. It's not that exciting. It's not even really all that interesting. It takes a good idea and just doesn't really deliver on it in the end. It's a real disappointment considering everything that they have involved in this. It just didn't work for me, and I know a lot of people it didn't work either, so I guess I'm not alone on that front. But it was kind of a small step back for John Travolta, who was having this massive comeback after Pulp Fiction. He had just done Get Shorty, and then he follows it up with this, which kind of took a dip in his career a little bit. But it wouldn't be too long until he got back to it. But we'll get to that in '96. But that's White Man's Burden for you. So let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Jeff Bridges starring in Wild Bill.
There were many men who tamed the West,
You best hand over the gun, Phil.
but only one
Man that kills Wild Bill is gonna be awful famous.
made it wild.
I come here to kill you.
Wild Bill has accepted your challenge.
He wants me to show some color.
Don't do it, Bill!
Take a walk on the wild side. Wild Bill.
Kind of like with White Man's Burden, another movie that has a lot of promise to it. I mean, Walter Hill directed this. This is the same guy that did 48 Hours. And, of course, he did these great movies, Brewster's Millions, The Warriors, I guess Red Heat's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie. But he has made a lot of really good movies. And you got Jeff Bridges starring as Wild Bill Hickok, and also Ellen Barkin's in here, John Hurt, Diane Lane, Keith Carradine, David Arquette, Christina Applegate, Bruce Dern, James Remare, just a great cast overall, and it just doesn't deliver what it should have really delivered to everybody. This movie feels like a film that was trying to be too close to a Western film, and Westerns are really a hard seller. Like, yeah, you get a great movie like Unforgiven every once in a while, and something unique like Sam Raimi's The Quick and the Dead from earlier this year, but other than that, though, like, most of these Westerns have not performed very well. It's because Westerns are really hard to make in modern times and make a success, and this is a prime example of it. And there's not really a whole lot done with the story here. It's a very mediocre story. You got Jeff Bridges trying the best he can. He really is the strongest thing about the film, but it's just stuff we've seen done over and over again in Westerns. It's not engaging, it's not exciting, and there's not really a whole lot of intrigue behind it. There's not really that level where I should be invested in this. It just doesn't work on a number of levels. And I even think that Walter Hill himself was not happy with the way it was filmed. And I think that was because MGM sold this movie as something that it really wasn't. Like, they were not selling the movie the right way. And lo and behold, look what it bombed off of only making 15 times less than what the movie actually cost to make. I mean, $30 million budget and you only make $2 million off of it. That is not a good sign whatsoever. So, yeah, quick one there, but that's Wild Bill. Not a very good movie, and you kind of see why. So, let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Andy Garcia leading another all-star cast in Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
Tell me about Jimmy the Saint.
Jimmy the Saint was a good man
You're different, Jimmy. You got decency.
who left behind a bad world.
You glide.
I glide.
You glide. It's a very attractive quality. You're a thing to be amazed by.
Then one day, the old boss forced him back.
Why me?
I got a call in the note.
What do you want done? It's just an action. It's not a piece of work.
Look at this. All the Pig Brothers from back in the day.
One-shot deal. We're in, we're out.
Are you in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You still crazy, man?
Well, I am what I am.
It would be smooth.
Bill, you're gonna be with Jimmy in the moving van. Bring the kid there, we scare him, and that's it.
It would be easy.
How's it looking, big man?
Looking good.
It would be the biggest mistake
Can I see some ID, please?
he ever made.
You got 48 hours. Leave Denver.
Now, time is running out.
You already made a call. The guy from El Paso, Mr. Shush, the most lethal contract killer west of the Mississippi.
And he's got 48 hours
Buckwitz. Look, reach for all of us, Jimmy. Even you.
to make the wrong things right.
I met someone. I don't want her hurt.
Didn't you learn nothing from me?
We don't stand up for each other, we're gone.
Martinez brothers out of Albuquerque even called in.
Garcia, Christopher Lloyd, Treat Williams, William Forsythe, Gabrielle Anwar, Bill Nunn, Jack Warden, Veruza Balk, and Christopher Walken.
You know, I could look at you forever. I wouldn't have to do anything else.
Things to do in Denver when you're dead.
It says a lot when the studio that put out Pulp Fiction says, we want to make a Pulp Fiction knockoff, and here you go. This is a Pulp Fiction knockoff, and not a particularly good one. I mean, kind of like with the other two movies that we have here, a pretty good cast overall. Andy Garcia, Christopher Lloyd, William Forsythe, Bill Nunn, Treat Williams, Jack Warden, Steve Buscemi, Veruza Balk, Gabrielle Anwar, Christopher Walken, Bill Cobbs, Jenny McCarthy's also in here, Tiny Lister, Don Cheadle, Josh Charles. Good names in here, and they just don't really deliver a solid movie overall. It's just kind of a mediocre film that, again, is trying to be too much like Pulp Fiction, and it definitely shows in here. Like, there are elements in here that are not exactly straight from Pulp Fiction, but you could just tell the person that made this movie says, I want to make a movie like Pulp Fiction, but I don't want to make a movie that is original or unique or conceptually good. I want to take a straight knockoff of Pulp Fiction and put it into this, and lo and behold, that's what you get here. It's a film that has so much potential to it, kind of like all the movies we looked at this week. All these movies had some good potential to it, but just bad delivery, just in the script department, or trying to make something off of something successful, being a knockoff of something much more successful. Only other thing I can say is that this is the first one directed by Gary Fleder, who would find some success with his next film, Kiss the Girls, and Don't Say a Word. Also did Runaway Jury, The Express, Homefront. So he has made some decent films, but this one is definitely not one of those films. It's a massive misfire, once again, with good potential there, things to do in Denver when you're dead. A pretty disappointing week, to say the least. And now you know why I said Thanksgiving weekend. The week after Thanksgiving weekend, I should say, is not a good weekend to release new movies and hope for good fortunes. And those three films are a good example. But we'll try again on the next episode. We got the week after that, which includes a sequel is a sequel to a successful comedy, Father of the Bride Part 2, with Steve Martin, Diane Keaton, and pretty much everybody from the first movie again. We also have Georgia. I don't know too much about that one, but we have two movies to look at, and one would hope that we will have a better output than what we had this week. So, well, anyway, that's the end of this episode of Time About the Movies. If you want to see more videos like this, though, hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.